This is about your paycheck, your savings, your ability to buy food next year. The dollar's strength isn't about how hard you work or how productive the American economy is. It's about artificial demand created by the petrodollar system. When that demand disappears, the supply of dollars doesn't change. We've printed trillions. But if the world doesn't need dollars anymore, all those dollars come flooding back home. That's called inflation. Except it won't be the 6% or 8% you've been dealing with. It'll be the kind of inflation that destroys middle-class savings in months. Think about it. For 50 years, the world absorbed our inflation. We printed money, and they held it in reserves or bought our bonds. Now, they're selling. They're diversifying. They're getting out. And when those dollars come back, when foreign central banks dump treasury bonds, when trade shifts to other currencies, the purchasing power of your dollar collapses. The price of imports explodes. Gas, electronics, clothing, medicine. Everything made outside America, which is almost everything, becomes unaffordable. Your savings lose value faster than you can spend them. And here's the part that should terrify you. The government can't stop it. The Federal Reserve talks about controlling inflation, but their tools don't work when the problem is loss of reserve currency status. They can raise interest rates, sure, but that crashes the economy and makes the debt unsustainable. They can print more money, but that accelerates inflation and drives more countries away from the dollar. There's no good option. It's checkmate. And the people in power know it. That's why they're not talking about it. Because if the public understood what's happening, panic would accelerate the collapse. Better to keep everyone calm, keep everyone ignorant, and let the disaster unfold slowly enough that most people don't connect the dots until it's too late. But the smart money already connected them. Let me tell you what they're doing. Because this is how you know it's real. When the richest, most informed people on Earth change their behavior, pay attention. Billionaires are buying farmland. Bill Gates now owns more farmland than anyone in America. Not because he wants to be a farmer, because land produces food, and food has value regardless of what happens to paper currency. Ray Dalio, one of the world's most successful hedge fund managers, has been screaming about dollar collapse for years. He's allocated significant portions of his fund to gold and foreign currencies. Warren Buffett, historically a dollar bull, has been diversifying Berkshire Hathaway's holdings into foreign stocks and commodities. Central banks, the institutions that actually manage currency, are buying gold at record levels. Russia, China, India, Turkey, Poland, all of them loading up on physical gold and reducing dollar reserves. In 2023 alone, central banks purchased over 1,000 tons of gold. That's the most in decades. Why? Because they know the dollar's reserve status is ending. And when it does, hard assets like gold hold value while paper currencies collapse. Even corporations are hedging. Tesla, MicroStrategy, and other major companies have put portions of their cash reserves into Bitcoin and other alternatives, not because they believe in crypto ideology, because they don't trust the dollar long term. And these aren't conspiracy theorists or doomers. These are the most successful, best-informed financial actors on Earth. They're voting with their wallets, and they're voting against the dollar. Meanwhile, your financial advisor probably still tells you to keep most of your money in dollar-denominated bonds and index funds. They're either ignorant or lying. Either way, you're the one who loses. Let's talk about what happens next. Because the petrodollar ending isn't the final collapse, it's the first domino. Here's the cascade. First, oil-producing nations start accepting other currencies. That's already happening. China pays for Saudi oil in yuan. India uses rupees. This reduces global dollar demand. Second, countries holding massive dollar reserves start selling. They don't want to be the last one holding the bag. Russia already did this. China is doing it slowly. Others will follow. When they sell, treasury bond prices fall and interest rates spike. Third, rising interest rates make U.S. government debt unsustainable. We're already at $36 trillion in national debt. Interest payments alone are approaching $1 trillion per year. If rates keep rising, that number doubles or triples. At some point, the only option is to print money to pay the debt. Fourth, printing money to pay debt accelerates inflation. Prices rise. People demand higher wages. Companies raise prices more. The spiral begins. Fifth, inflation destroys confidence in the currency. People start looking for alternatives. Some turn to foreign currencies. Some turn to gold. Some turn to crypto. The flight from the dollar accelerates. And here's the nightmare scenario. A currency crisis triggers a debt crisis, which triggers a banking crisis, which triggers a political crisis. This isn't one problem. It's systemic failure. When people can't afford food, they riot. When governments can't pay salaries, they collapse. When banks can't honor withdrawals, they close. The entire social contract depends on economic stability. And that stability rests on currency confidence. And we're watching that confidence break in real time. Look at the signs. Food prices up 25% since 2020. Energy costs spiking. Housing unaffordable for an entire generation. Wages not keeping up. Credit card debt at record highs. These aren't separate issues. They're symptoms of monetary collapse. The dollar is dying. And everything priced in dollars is reflecting that death.